What's good, YouTube land? Let's do Wave 2 of Kingdom. So we're going to start with the lone Autobot Deluxe that I've picked up, because I really don't plan to pick up RC. And also the guy who's definitely not telling you to huff paint fumes. It's Huffer! So, there we go. There's a very nice battle portrait of Huffer and his alt mode. Yep, his name really is Huffer. On the top. Got the shot with the golden disc there. How awesome does the arc look? Freaking hell. We'll talk about Wave 3 reveals either in this, probably this video. There's the Beast Wars Eye. Old school packaging. This is, I believe, yes, another case where there are accessories in the bottom. So don't throw this out before you check down there. And we get a card of Dinobot. Now, as I've constantly read on the wiki, there are 3 different potential reveals on these cards. So I think this one's actually different. Yeah, because the other one's purple with the Predacon. But this is also, this looks like the Universe Dinobot mold. We'll have to, well, I don't have that toy, but we'll see when I get my hands on the Voyager Kingdom one. And we've got obligatory product shots on the back. So let's tuck this back in and talk about the guy who is a truck, but is not Optimus Prime. Okay. Okay. Here he is, Huffer! And this is actually a fairly, I'm going to say, momentous occasion, because this is the first brand new mold for Huffer since actual G1. The only other toys that have been named Huffer, there was a repaint of Combiner Wars Legends Class Optimus Prime that looked pretty much nothing like this, was solid orange, was not a good representation of Huffer. This is a fully realized, actually animation accurate toy of Huffer in my hand right now. And I do actually like him quite a bit. So let's take away his gun, his shield, and just talk about the basic robot design for a second. It's definitely the most awkward way you could do a robot that turns into a truck. Like, honestly, I could just point to this and say, yep. But that is his iconic design. That is what he looks like. Size comparison. Here he is with an aforementioned Optimus Prime. So yeah. I'd pull out in. I should have grabbed Impactor off my shelf, because he's the only other Autobot that rocks the purple and orange. Like, sure, there's where? Come on, get off. Another orange guy, Grapple, and plus this mold's getting its repaint in Wave 2. I don't have them yet. Inferno. I'm not exactly sure. I'm most likely going to pick up Inferno. We'll see. But, yeah, this color scheme is so rare for the Autobots, because it is just basically swapped the standard Autobot red and blue. And it's also, purple is a lot more commonly associated with Decepticons. sky warp, sky warp, sky warp, sky warp, reflector, etc. So I like the color scheme. The arms are very amusing to me because they kind of look like a bunch of tin cans. Like maybe if you each held up to one side of his arms, you could hear the other person through it, you know. Old school. Probably not, but it's a nice thought. And other than that, he's got a fairly decent amount of molding. Not too much. There's some very nice molding on the thighs. A little bit of silver on the pelvis. Very nice. Like, it's very nice and clean. Except for, like, obviously the truck cab. But everything else is very nicely clean and well done. It's a very good. Do I want to give it very good? We'll see at the end, but articulation-wise, actually, one thing about the cab, I believe the stock photography has it somewhere like up here or like about here. I like to keep it just about right there, as tight to his head as possible. Although you do, at that point, kind of have to get out of the way to get to his ball-jointed head. Can go up a bit, down, side to side, swivel here. Hinge at the shoulder, very nice. Doesn't get hindered by the truck cab at all. You get all the way out. You do get a bicep swivel, which is lower than where you expect it to be. Oh no, it's actually up top. I just can't, you barely see it moving from the back, but you do get a bicep swivel. An elbow joint that goes 90 degrees, but kind of looks odd. Does that invisible elbow thing. I don't know if you want to count this as a point of articulation, but you can break his wrist. It's much more for the transformation. But if that's one thing, I wish he had a waist swivel. Not a waist swivel. I wish he had a wrist. I wish he had a wrist swivel. I do English good. The waist does actually have a swivel. And also, due to the transformation, he's got an ab crunch, which leaves the backpack. But it's an ab crunch. I wish in tandem his ball joint had a bit more range. So when he's bending over, he just looks right at himself. I kind of wish he had more range to like actually poke his forehead a bit and look out, but evidently that's too much for the mold. I didn't even mention his head sculpt. It has that very specific, looks like a purple mask covering his head kind of aesthetic. No light piping on the go, but some nice, kind of sunken in blue eyes. It works. It does admittedly look like a skull cap, which I already mentioned. But it does also have a tiny bit of random ear mold, I guess. I guess that's what you could call that. Hips. Straightforward. All the way back. All the way out, although they do kind of have to go over the sculpting of the joint. See, there's a little bit of excess right there that you kind of have to force it over slightly, but you can get the full beautiful spread. Thigh swivel. You get a very deep knee bend, part and parcel to his transformation, but it does give him some very nice range. He looks very dynamic with this. And you get a super deep ankle pivot. Again, I wish he had a forward and backwards joint, but given the hollowness of the backs of his shins, I can kind of see that there wasn't really room to put it in. And also, this is a little bit of a, I guess you could call it an Easter egg. Due to his transformation, you can flip his heel spurs to cover up his leggings and provide him a tiny bit of armor detail, which is kind of nice, although he can't actually stand up if you do that. Because the front of his toes are lower than his heels, so you kind of have to like rest him on an edge, sort of, just for him to stand up like that. So it's a nice little thing. It's not really intentional, but it's there if you want to do it. So overall robot mode is pretty good. I don't have any other jokes about huffing paint or the name Huffer. So insert 420 joke here, I guess. Let's talk about his accessories before we go into truck mode. We have this very nice looking gun, kind of a rifle-esque. I do like it quite a bit. It's got quite a bit of nice molding and a broad gunmetal gray paint wash. As you can tell, just the peg is orange. So everything instruction-wise tells you to put it in his left hand, but unfortunately, his right hand. But the right hand on mine is like an iota too big for him to actually get a comfortable grip on it. Because if I put it in his left hand, it's solid in there. It's barely moving. Like it feels tight, but like the left hand is like it doesn't feel solid enough. Sure, it won't fall out, but like it doesn't feel like a secure fit. So I like to put his gun in his left hand because in my mind, he's a lefty just like me. And then we have to talk about the Shield. No, not Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. This little thing, which it is a shield. It does have some little 3mm pegs right there for effect parts, and then also a slot for some reason. I guess if you put it right in front of his face, so he can still see out of it. But other than that, it's just a solid piece cast in orange with only the top side getting paint. I do, my voice. I do kind of wish it had paint on the underside, because it does have some nice molding, and I think deserves to be picked out. But you can peg it into either of the ports on his arm, or the ones on his shins, or if you want interesting look, you can't peg it into his. No, you can kind of peg it into his truck cab as storage. I guess I should also mention, I wanted to bring this up, an interesting fan theory that I don't think Hasbro has confirmed, but it makes too much sense to like not be true, about the fact that this guy was I think this guy was inspired by a scrapped Masterpiece Huffer, because as paperwork has come out showing, there was plans to do a Huffer figure as an accessory to, I think it was MP10 Optimus Prime, and a lot of the shown sketches for that Masterpiece Huffer actually made it into molded in detail on this guy. I couldn't tell you what exactly. I saw like a brief glimpse of the picture and never saved it so I could go back and look at it. But if that is true, that's really cool. And I guess this is basically Masterpiece Huffer for a $29.99 price point, for a deluxe price point. So he also does actually look really good with posing his shield and his gun. Like, I like to This is probably the generic standard pose. You know, gun out, shield in front of his face. But I think that looks really dynamic. I really like it. I guess if you want to go Megatron-esque, you could plug his gun into his forearm. And also due to the transformation, the gun splits in half. So if you decided you randomly wanted to give him two half guns that don't look as good as their combined form, there's a little notch right here. This is where I like to pry the guns apart. And there you have two awkward-looking half guns that you can hold, kind of. Actually, not at all. Yeah, they can't plug into anything at all. They actually plug into the shield for transformation. So if you want to give them that full bunker sort of accessory kind of idea, you can plug them into port, like that kind of peg on each side. So that's his combined accessory. You can, I don't know what you'd call it. It's just a shield with some guns on it. It looks quite a bit awkward. Let's just pretend it, let's just get rid of it entirely. So we're going to get to transformation. And transformation is very simple. I'd say bordering to almost too simple. So start, you can fold these bits on top and peg the legs together. And we'll come back to the legs in a second. Open up the truck cab. Open up his chest. Excuse me. The hinges, the joints the shoulders are on, you're going to pull them down and make sure the shoulder looks like that. Plug the bring the other one down and take the wheels that are in his back. You want to bring them into where the shoulders used to be and plug the torso back in place. Also, take the time to rotate the head just so he's not staring at you in his truck mode. And these shoulders are going to peg into little tabs on his skirt, his love handles. So you just plug them in, and you're going to close the truck cab back until it pseudo locks in place. And also now rotate the arms, because there's a groove for pegs on the truck cab to sit in. So rotate until it's positioned there, and fold the hands down so they're pretending to hide, and fold in the feet on that joint. And there you have, actually, I think I can, no, we can't get the truck cab any lower. But that is Huffer in his tiny little truck mode. And isn't it just the cutest little thing? It's just adorable. I'm not sure what kind of truck it is. It's a flat nose. It is predominantly orange. There's absolutely no purple left. Unfortunately, he has to suffer from visible hand syndrome. And we'll show off the panel again because it has some very nice diamond plate molding and a trailer hitch with a lot of ports. So this is it's a very cute truck mode. It's nice and compact. It's held together solidly. It's not gonna, fall to bits. It's got tail lights picked out in red. All the detail you want there is picked out in silver. Even the windshield wipers I picked out in black. I like the translucent blue, although it does kind of give away a bit that there's nothing really inside. Same. And the silver acts as very nice smokestacks that go all the way into, I guess, if we're going off that classic Optimus look, the gas canisters at the side. I do want to do I want to transform Earthrise Optimus Prime to show you a comparison? Not particularly, but let's give it a go anyway. Because I am nothing if not full of dumb ideas. This is going to take a while. You can, for some reason, I mean, if you want to, you can plug a gun up there. Plug Optimus Guns. Optimus Guns Prime. Optimus Prime's gun. Many different places. Also, the main thing it wants you to do is take this combination of stuff. There's the trio of ports right there, and plug that into the back, and that gives you weapon storage and a bit of a different looking truck bed if you want. This is something I've been doing off camera, but I guess today I don't feel like doing it off camera. Because apparently I don't want to edit this video. Or I don't want this video edited for me. So thank you to my attempt at being lazy and just... This is like these... I barely transform this toy anymore. Like he sits on my shelf because he just looks so nice in robot mode that I rarely often play with older... Well, he's not even that old, or it's just... I have the new stuff I buy before I review it sitting around me all the time, so I constantly end up playing with that instead of grabbing a toy off the shelf. We're almost there. Alright, there we go. So there, if you want to look, is Optimus Prime and Huffer, two different truck modes, but they're similar. They're similar. Not really, but sure, we'll go with that. And also to that point, Huffer, in light of the idea, like the Masterpiece was supposed to tow the MP10 trailer, this guy can tow Earthrise Optimus Prime's trailer, although, unfortunately, it kind of fails. So you're supposed to use, I think, either of those two, or that main trailer hitch, but the problem comes with the fact that his legs are just pegged together, so they end up splitting, and the connection is not good. It's not solid at all. Just because it's a port made up of two halves. If you want a more solid connection, you have to use... You can't even use the third... You have to use one of those two. And then it's a solid connection, but it's off to the side. It doesn't look as good as it could. It's a thing you can do. It technically works. Unfortunately, not only is the peg stronger enough to pull the gray panel off, but you can't do... You can plug it in, sort of, but it's not gonna roll you. It's not gonna rickroll you. So, that's unfortunate. I wonder if there's a way to strengthen up the connections between his legs to make that port much less susceptible to just... Like, it doesn't even split the legs. Like, the legs only split at the top. Like, the bottoms of them, they're still solidly connected. It's just... You want to... The only thing I could think of to do is just... Like... Because I believe these gray panels also plug into each other. Yes, not very securely. It's actually breaking that connection. It's not breaking the leg connection. It's breaking the panels connection. So I wish maybe there's a way for me to strengthen that connection so it can actually sit properly. Because you can put it loose, but then again, it still separates. Like even rotating it splits the legs. So that's one unfortunate thing. One of my unfortunate nitpicks. And also, there's somebody in here. Look, it's G2 Sideswipe. I didn't actually review this version of Sideswipe. I haven't done a video on him. And honestly, mostly because I think I talked him to death in both Sideswipe and Red Alert reviews that I really had nothing to say about G2 Sideswipe. It's Sideswipe, but the colors are flipped. Yay. His gun's all silver. He doesn't come with any of the overkill G2 guns he had in the fiction, apparently. The gun I tend to keep on the bottom of the trailer. Actually, before this video, I went to grab the trailer and I had actually completely forgotten that I had G2 Sideswipe in here. Because I only just take this part off, leave this off to the side over there, and just have Optimus Prime hold the shield. So I'd completely forgotten that I actually have a G2 Sideswipe. Or a Generation Select. Yeah, Generation Select G2 Sideswipe. But I think we should wrap up on Huffer before I ramble any further. I really like this guy. I really think he deserves... I think he's going to be the sleeper hit for Kingdom Wave 2. Because it's like Air Razor, Ractonite, and Dinobot, Inferno, RC. RC, I don't know if people are going to buy again. But it gives another chance for people to buy it. Friggin' the Beast Wars stuff is really good. So I think Huffer, he is really good. I'd say, I want to give him bordering an 8, maybe 7.9. Because, the transformation, the robot's still right there. He's, that's, the connection to the trailer is unfortunate. The visible hands, they're all slight marks. He's overall very good. I like him quite a bit. But it's I feel like he's probably the most forgettable, because not a lot of people are going to remember Huffer. Modern fans probably gonna pass over him, maybe. And I don't think you should pass over him, because he's fun. And honestly, that transformation, I feel like it's paired perfectly for kids, because it's simple enough for kids to play with, but not too simple. It's just enough to go, hey, I'm doing something, and then it's done. And I think the robot mode is solid enough, and it's just for the fact that this is the first proper attempt at a classics Huffer we've gotten. I think he's worth the pickup. So, thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. I hope I convinced you to pick up a Huffer of your own. And until next time, smoke weed every day. And keep it weird. Bye.